Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode. I was going to say an action-packed episode, but that'd be a fucking lie. Another episode of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. This is the 8th edition. I am your host, Brent Piles, and with me, as always, is my tag team partner from across the ocean and from the future. Here's the ballroom brawling, disco dancing, dynamite stretching, intercontinental playboy, folks. He's more over than, I don't know what he's more over than, but he's G.A. Russell Nut, Glenn Abbott. Glenn, how you doing?
Doing very well, thank you. Yes, they say what God gives you, God takes away. Well, He gave us over the weekend and last night, and certainly took it away by watching this rubbish today.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. We were treated to some good football, but also some anxiety-inducing football on Saturday morning.
Anxiety-inducing, definitely, and it shouldn't have been.
No,
that goalkeeper suddenly became a world-class goalkeeper. How it's amazing how a goalkeeper that has that sort of game could concede 4 goals and still end up man of the match.
Yeah, but I mean, really, if you didn't watch that thing, it was a hell of a lot closer than 4-2. And yeah, that goalkeeper still in his head. We could have easily scored 7. You know,
easy.
And it just goes to show you how a game
both these
can
games
can turn on its head just from one goal. I mean, we were in complete control. They get a free kick. It takes a deflection off Kai's shoulder, and then David Raya has no chance of getting to it once it goes off Kai's shoulder. I think he had it covered, and he would have had it easily had it not went off Kai's shoulder. Once it did that, it was in a place where he wasn't going to. Andre the Giant with more athleticism wouldn't have fucking stopped that one. You know what I mean?
No, that's very true. And yet, Kai Havertz definitely paved back for that deflection 10 times over in both the games.
Yeah, especially the game against PSG yesterday. I thought he played really well. And then he end up getting that goal there at the end. And I was literally in my living room having an argument with the VAR assistant that he didn't know we were having. Because I'm going, no, he kicked it. The guy in the blue jersey kicked it. That's a goal. I know it's a goal. My son was out here because my son was out in the living room. He's sitting on the couch. We were waiting for the Bears game. The Bears game was just about to start, and so he's probably looking at me like, this guy's fucking nuts. 2 very fun, interesting matches from Arsenal this week, definitely.
Oh, they were just against a team like PSG. They were just totally dominant. I knew PSG came back in the second half a little bit, but Raya had one of his quieter games, shall we say?
Yeah, he wasn't tested a whole lot. I think it was only a couple of times. And then that second goal was incredible because when he kicked, I'm like, I don't know who scored that. I have no idea.
No.
But literally, no one touched it. It just floated on through.
Yeah, nobody quite got a touch to it, which was again, talk about Kai Havertz. He played the perfect number 9 centre forwards role last night. Holding the ball up, scoring a goal, just perfect.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, that's it was a fun weekend. It was a fun couple of matches for Arsenal fans. We got Southampton this weekend, and then we're off into another dreaded international break.
Anywho, shall we get this wrestling out of the way?
Yeah, I suppose we should talk about this crap. Wrestling that we watched this week. It is Raw is War from February 16th, 1998. It took place at the Reunion Arena in Dallas, Texas. And as soon as I read that this was a tape show that was going to be followed up with another tape show, I went, this is going to be awful.
Saturday Night Raw.
Yeah, this did take place on a Saturday evening.
It was Saturday Night Raw. Yeah, it was something because we had a week off, didn't we? And then you get two shows in 3 days.
The Reunion Arena is a pretty famous arena, or was a pretty famous arena in the Texas area. It opened in April of 1980 and was the primary home of the Dallas Stars of the NHL and the NBA's Dallas Mavericks. It also held the 1986 Final Four. Pretty historic wrestling stuff is taking place at the Reunion Arena. It was frequented by world-class championship wrestling in the 1980s, in which the organization held its bi-monthly Star Wars events at this arena. One of those events taking place on Christmas night, 1982, pretty infamous night in wrestling. It's the night where Kerry Von Erich challenged Ric Flair in a cage match for the NWA World Championship. Michael Hayes was the referee, and then Terry Gordy ended up slamming the door on Kerry Von Erich's head, which ignited the epic feud between the Von Erichs and the Freebirds. So that did take place at this arena. So,
oh right, which is rather apt considering that we get a huge leap back to the 1980s wrestling in this show that we're about to review.
Yeah, no, they definitely did. They also held SmackDown on November 9th, 2000, and Fully Loaded 2000 in July. And the Reunion Arena was demolished in November of 2009. So you cannot go visit this place. It's probably a parking lot, I'm sure.
Oh dear. Okay then. Sorry.
We're 5 weeks away from WrestleMania, and it's a taped Raw that took place on a Saturday night. Notable signs, Glenn. The only one I saw, which is apt for this show because I'm missing some teeth and you're missing some teeth. Toothless 316.
Yes.
I thought that was a good one. So they opened the show and they let us know that DX is thinking about filing a lawsuit against Steve Austin for what he did to China at No Way Out.
Yeah. Who cares?
Yeah, I mean, they didn't really talk much more about it after that, so I don't know.
They're definitely missing Shawn Michaels, aren't they?
They were missing a lot in this show. And they kick it off with the Legion of Doom, which doesn't sound so bad, but they're going to be taking on the Quebecers.
The Quebecers. This is one of the first leaps back in. I know it was 10 years ago. Good, now bad.
Yeah, I don't know. It might not have been. I still like it better than the Quebecers versus the Godwins because at least you put a babyface team in there, so it gives the people somebody to cheer. And the New Age
Legion of Doom. The Legion of Doom were well over with the crowd.
This is the only thing they had to be excited about tonight was the LOD coming out. The New Age Outlaws come out with a dumpster. They push it down the ramp. They start attacking Hawk. They throw him into the dumpster. They throw him into the dumpster and then sit on it so he can't get out. Finally, Hawk gets pissed off, grabs a chair, chases them off. Hawk pops out of the dumpster, and they end up getting counted out. And the Quebecers win by countout. What rating are you going to give that, Glenn? You going to call that good, bad, or ugly?
That number one. For what it wasn't bad, but it certainly wasn't good. So it had to be ugly.
Yeah, that's fair, I think. I don't think it was. I thought it was pretty bad. I mean, there was nothing to like about it.
No, not really. There was nothing to dislike about it either. It was a nothing match. That was all just setting up all the nonsense at the end.
Yeah, we do find out that LOD will be challenging the New Age Outlaws for the championships next Monday night on Raw. So there's that. It just didn't make any sense to me because I felt like the New Age Outlaws are in the midst of a few with Cactus Jack and Chainsaw Charlie. So why are we now all of a sudden interjecting them in with the LOD again? I thought they were done with the LOD.
Yeah, you would think so.
And then, I mean, the thing that told me that this was going to be a very filler show very early was this long extended video package of what China's been up to the last year.
Yeah, nothing we hadn't already seen. I really don't know why they felt the need to be putting her over on this show. As you say, apart from the fact it was a filler.
Like, I understood them showing what happened at the pay-per-view because they referenced it earlier, and it's been, almost a week, so people haven't seen an episode of Raw since the pay-per-view's been on. So I got that part of it, but I just didn't understand we didn't need to see the entire history of China. You know what I mean? And the hits just keep on coming, Glenn, because next up we've got Ken Shamrock battling Sniper from the Truth Camp.
I'm sorry for the people that want an insightful review, but it's crap.
I would describe this match as slow.
Oh yeah, very slow. Building to a crap ending.
Well, I mean,
And that
thankfully,
sums the
eventually,
show up, really.
finally the match ends when Ken Shamrock puts the ankle lock on Sniper, who I gotta say, maybe one of the most boring wrestlers I've ever watched in my entire life, and I've been watching wrestling for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you on that one.
The old expression "boring as balls" was as boring as this guy was. He was as boring as balls. It was just, I don't know. After the match, the Jackal's mad again. He slaps Sniper, but Sniper pushes him and leaves the ring. And then they show Sniper and Recon in the locker room having a promo. And Recon's trying to calm him down, but the Sniper says that the Jackal can go to hell. And he's sick of this. She's tired of this shit, he says.
Yeah.
And so am I. That shit was ugly.
Yes.
All this shit was ugly. I'm sick of this shit.
So are we all.
This show might be like 35 minutes. I'm not apologizing because it's not good.
No,
There's not a whole lot I can say about any of this.
No, because we go from one pile of crap to another.
Well, you don't need to make pile jokes,
okay? Sorry. Heap of crap then to another.
Thank you.
Mark Merrow and Sable being interviewed by the King. By this point, I was losing the will to live.
Yeah, right. Me too. Just please make it stop. Make it stop. And then the worst person to do this is Jerry the King Lawler. And here's the thing that I've noticed most about watching wrestling from when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Jerry Lawler fucking sucks.
Yes. Anybody, I've said this a few times, they are Jerry the King Lawler are the greatest of all time commentary duos. I've never watched this era of wrestling. They've got this idea in their head of what the Attitude Era was, and that's it.
Yeah, he's just annoying, and all they do is bicker.
He is. Yeah.
I would rather have Byron Saxton than Jerry.
Well, yeah.
That's a hill I'll die on. I will die on that hill.
Yeah. To be fair, JR, just as the play-by-play commentator in the first hour with the three-man, shines a lot better than he does in the second hour with just Jerry Lawler.
Yeah, no, I agree. I wouldn't have, if you would have asked me before we started watching this, if I liked Kevin Kelly, Michael Cole, and JR better than JR and the King, I would have told you absolutely not. But now after watching it as a grown adult, I would agree absolutely wholeheartedly. They should have stuck with that three-man booth. It would have served the show so much better, in my opinion.
It would have done. It would have done.
At least up until this point. So, I mean, the King asks, are they going to break up? Mero tells about how he's in the hospital after knee surgery. He wakes up looking for Sable, but she's not there. He turns on Monday Night Raw, and what's she doing? Trying to sell an Austin 316 t-shirt. And at this point, I'm yelling at the TV, I bet WWE pays her for that, though. She doesn't do it out of the goodness of her heart, I think.
Yeah, that's what she hit paid for.
Yeah, he says, Sable steals his spotlight. She can't win matches. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I don't know. That's all I'm going to say about this. It sucked. Somebody comes out with flowers. They give them to Sable.
Nothing.
Mero
we haven't heard.
Wants to know who the flowers are from, and she says, basically stick it up your ass, and she leaves. And that is the end of yet another bad segment. And then I might go out on a limb and say that this was the best part of the show, but that's not saying a lot. Yes. So we got a promo from Jim Cornette, and he talks about how Tommy Young is going to be the referee for the NWA World Tag Team Title match between the Headbangers and the Rock and Roll Express tonight. Tommy Young, the old NWA referee. You're familiar with Tommy Young, right?
I am, yes.
Yeah, I mean, if you're watching home and you don't know Tommy Young, if you go back and watch any Ric Flair match in the NWA in the 80s, Tommy Young is probably the referee.
It probably is. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like that.
He wasn't a bad.
What? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
He wasn't a bad referee either for the time.
No, I would say he was probably. I would rank him up there as one of the greatest referees of all time, in my opinion, from what I've seen.
Well, I'll bow to you on that. Your knowledge of referees is a lot greater than mine because I don't really pay attention to them that much.
I'm a big referee guy. If you don't know, the greatest referee of all time, of course, is AWI Pod Hall of Famer El Ref. But
of course he is.
Of course he is.
Shout out to El Ref if he listens.
Yeah, shout out to El Ref. I got to get him back on the show again. I haven't talked to him in a while. Or his father. His father's a great guy too. So yeah, the Headbangers battled the Rock and Roll Express for the NWA Tag Team Championships.
My note on this was nothing says NWA like the Headbangers.
Yeah, their gimmick would get over great in the NWA.
Yeah. There was one line from JR that I really liked, calling Jim Cornette his wideness.
Yeah. I must have missed that, but that is pretty fucking good. I thought this was decent. I didn't think it was bad. It was short though, because they only got like 4 minutes. But I found it to be pretty entertaining when it was going on. I mean, the Headbangers are a good tag team, and the Rock and Roll can still go at this point. But unfortunately, we didn't get a good finish, did we?
No, more shenanigans at the end. It just doesn't seem to be that anybody can book a decent ending to a match in 1998.
So I understand like the thinking in this finish because it's going to keep the story going. So it looks like the Headbangers are about to win when Thrasher is about to pin, I think, Ricky Morton, but then Mosh grabs Robert Gibson and throws him over the top rope, which is, if you don't know, in NWA rules, throwing someone over the top rope is a disqualification. So, of course, Tommy Young calls for the bell. They're disqualified. Rock and Roll are still the NWA Tag Team Champions. So, like, I understand the finish, but because we see so many screw job finishes, it keeps leaving a bad taste in our mouth. You know what I mean? Whether it makes sense or not.
Yeah, probably because the NWA wasn't really a thing by now.
Yeah, I'm sure they were running great house shows in Indiana. Sorry if you live in Indiana, but they weren't running in Nebraska. Nebraska's not a good place to run shows. I'm not downplaying Indiana. Nebraska would be much worse if they were running in Nebraska. Then finally, mercilessly, Glenn, I thought, thank you. The heavens have opened up. Finally, Stone Cold Steve Austin comes down to the ring, and he was out here for like 3 minutes.
The man that's supposed to be the savior of the show don't get time to breathe, basically. Yeah, he doesn't say anything.
He says hardly nothing. And you expect like to get a long diatribe about this whole China suing situation, but no, they barely even talked about it.
I can't understand why the bits that they could have given a bit longer, they cut short and then put other bits in that they didn't need to.
Yeah, I don't know if maybe I guess we'll find out next week what's in store for Stone Cold Steve Austin. So, and maybe we'll find out why. I don't know. I don't have high hopes for next week either because it's a fucking tape show. So I'm assuming it's going to be awful as well. But I guess we'll find out together.
Tape show again. Yeah.
I guess from this, he says he's not worried about Shawn Michaels not being around because he wants him at home getting ready for WrestleMania because he wants him at his best because an ass whooping is an ass whooping no matter what shape you're in. He says if Mike Tyson gets into his business at WrestleMania, he'll knock his gold tooth out and make a necklace or a ring or whatever kind of jewelry he wants out of it. And that's the bottom line. And that was probably the only part of this show that I'm going to say was good.
That was it.
That was the one. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be our show for the week.
Well, we go to another lurch to the bag with Brian Christopher and the bloody cruiserweights.
Oh, when you're missing a part. You forgot about the Jeff Jarrett Owen Hart European Championship match.
Yeah, and I watched it, and I didn't even make a note on that. That shows I've lost the will to live by this time.
I mean, I get it. It wasn't really anything to write home about. It was a short match too.
It was just all that again, another iffy ending with all the thing with the bloody tennis racket at the end. It's just typical Jim Cornette. Is he booking this shit?
Maybe they were letting him book the NWA shit. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's because Owen's gonna beat him. He puts him in the sharpshooter, but then they get the tennis rack. Oh, he's got Jared in the sharpshooter, so Cornette tries to get in there with the tennis rack, but he cuts him off, and that's a disqualification. Then he puts Cornette in the sharpshooter, which is pretty entertaining.
Yeah.
And then Jarrett tried to get him with the tennis racket.
He couldn't even succeed with that.
Yeah. And that was by this point, that was the third DQ or count out finish of the show.
Yeah.
So it was almost as if they didn't know what to fucking do.
No.
We then got a little history about Doc Hendricks, aka Michael P.S. Hayes and the Freebirds.
Yeah, they actually mentioned him as Michael P.S. Hayes and the Freebirds.
Yeah,
so I don't know what had gone on that they suddenly could start using his alter ego.
Yeah, I want to say because they were at the reunion arena and because all the history that they had there, they just thought it would get him more of a sympathy when Kane comes out here and kicks his ass.
Yeah, I suppose so. All under red light again. Oh, that annoys me so much. You get a bit that might be slightly entertaining, and they do it all in the dark.
Yeah, I don't know why they still keep doing that. At least they stopped doing his matches in the dark, so that's good.
Yeah, that's supposed to say that's something. But we've only seen him have like 2 matches.
Yeah, well, he had the Mankind one, and then the one with Vader, and the Mankind one they did do in the dark.
Yeah, so we've only actually seen one match of his that we saw.
Right. Yeah, we've seen one match from him. The other one was in the dark. I thought it was funny that after he choke slamming tombstones, and Paul Bearer says into the camera, "The Freebird has been grounded."
Yeah, that was good.
So that was a good part of the show. And then we get to Aguilar and Taka Michinoku battling Brian Christopher and Perito Morgan, Glenn.
Yeah.
You know anything about Perito Morgan?
No, I don't.
Do you want to hear a fun fact about him?
Go on, yes, please.
Okay. Perito Morgan has been in over 30 hair matches over his career, starting in the 1970s and having his last one in 2010, Glenn. That guy's had a lot of hair.
You'd think he would have given up on that and started wearing a mask, wouldn't you?
You would think he probably lost it. So
yeah, probably, yeah.
I only found his prolific hair match.
Well, that's something, I suppose.
The thing that I find strange about all this Takamichinoku Brian Christopher stuff is it's like they're going to have Takamichinoku versus Brian Christopher at WrestleMania, but I know that doesn't happen. So it's just weird that they're doing it. I don't know if Brian Christopher gets in trouble or something and that gets derailed but it's just strange to me.
I think it's just Vince having a go at the X division.
Oh, the cruiserweights, yeah.
Yeah. I don't think his heart was in it. I just think that he was it was because the X division was being talked about and doing so well.
God damn it, they've got little guys, we can get little guys too. They got Mexicans, we can get Mexicans. I know guys who got Mexicans. Let's call them right now.
Yeah, we can go to Japan. Why not?
Damn it, pal. If they're going to have little people, we're going to have... What about Little Beaver? Oh, he's not a little guy? Oh. Get in here. Get me some little Mexicans. I need them.
Could have done with some little people on this show, really. We'd have livened it up a bit.
I would have loved Max Mania brighten this thing right up, wouldn't he have?
Yeah, it would have done.
For fuck's sakes. I don't know. This match was what you would expect from a tag team light heavyweight match in the World Wrestling Federation. Taka wins after hitting the Michinoku driver on Perito Morgan. And it wasn't bad, but I wouldn't call it good.
No. It was the usual Brian Christopher beating the shit out of Taka Michinoku and then Taka Michinoku winning.
Yep, that's about how it goes. Brian Christopher, for some reason, ain't going to WrestleMania. I don't know why, but he's not. The next match was Farouk versus Steve Blackman. The match wasn't really anything to write home about, but the segment before the match was fucking hilarious. Okay, so the Nation comes out, and The Rock tells us that he's got something special he wants to talk about. He wants to talk about the state of the Nation of Domination. He says they lost their match against, Ken Shamrock, DOA, and Ahmed Johnson. He said, but he wants everybody to know there's no problems within the Nation. Everything is copacetic. There's no hard feelings. And so everyone knows that everything's okay. He's got a gift for everyone. So Kama,
That's
D'Lo, and Mark Henry
it.
get brand new Rolexes that The Rock say cost $15,000, I guess.
Yeah, the Rolex watches, and then Farouk's special present,
Which is all
which
wrapped
comes
up.
into play at the end. Yep.
It's all wrapped up. He gives it to Farouk. Farouk opens it, and it is a lovely portrait of The Rock holding the Intercontinental Championship.
Yeah.
And the look on Farouk's face when he opened that thing was fucking priceless.
It was. It certainly was.
It was so good.
Yeah.
I take it back, Glenn. I said something else was the best part of the show. That was the best part of the show, was The Rock giving him that
That.
picture.
Yeah.
Part.
That's very true. And it is that thing, isn't it? Introducing a gun in Act 1.
Yep.
By Act 3, it needs to have been fired.
Yep.
And the picture comes back into it.
Yeah. This match lasted all of a minute and 30
again, yeah, rubbish match. Nothing in it. But for flipping and to get in the picture and go and try and smash it over Steve Blackman's head. And then The Rock taking it off of him. And
yep.
then Farouk getting rolled up. I thought that was quite hilarious as well. That was one of the most.
Yeah, I agree. It was one of the most entertaining parts of the show, and I'm going to go ahead and give that a good rating because I thought it was pretty good.
Yes, yeah, I agree with you on that one.
And then the nations like fighting amongst each other at the end because The Rock's mad that Farouk wanted to smash it, so Farouk ends up taking it and just ripping it apart, and then leaving the ring with The Rock's very upset. And then they even go to a break and come back, and they talk to D'Lo a little bit, and you can hear all the guys. The doors, like you can see the door like, holding back and forth, and the guys are yelling in there, and it was all a really, really good, well done segment, and I'll give him some credit for that one because that was really, really good. And then we get to what would be the main event of the evening.
Main event. This sums his show up that this is the main event.
Mark,
and for those that don't,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And for those that don't know, is Cactus Jack and Chainsaw Charlie.
Yeah. The only thing I'll say good for this match is Goldust doesn't dress like a weirdo.
That's right. He was actually Goldust for a joke. And Luna Vachon trying to be Marlena was quite funny as well.
You know, I didn't pick up on that until just right now when you said it, but yeah, you're right. She was dressed as Marlena, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
even with false boobs.
Did she? Wow. See, at this point I'd have lost the will to live, Glenn, because I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, she had like 10 cups over her boobs.
I did not see
that. A bit like Madonna, the cone things.
Or like the headbangers.
Yeah, headbangers.
Did you notice that big old wet spot on the back of Chainsaw Charlie's trousers?
I did.
Like he shit his
Couldn't miss it. Couldn't really miss it, could you?
It was the whole. It was like he sat in something. It was like the whole.
Yeah.
His whole ass had a big old wet spot.
I'm sure he had sat in something, not realised. And Vic probably thought it was just funny to let him carry on without telling him.
Oh, probably. Yeah, I mean, I would do that. That's the kind of friend I one time wrote on my friend's face with marker when he fell asleep on my couch. in the morning I had to go to work, and so I was going to give him a ride home. And we stopped at the gas station and went inside to buy stuff. Do you think I told him that there was mark on his face? Fuck no, I didn't.
No,
Matter of fact,
no,
he
of
didn't
course
even
not.
know because he went up, took a shower, and didn't even see it. So he had no idea I put a mark on his face, and he walked to the gas station like,
Oh dear, great.
he'll never listen to this, so he'll never know.
No. Anyway, anywho, it's another hooky finish.
I'm like not shitting you when I tell you this, Glenn. I wrote this in my notes. I'm not kidding when I say this, but I started to fall asleep when I was watching this main event. I had to wake myself up to type those last two sentences. That was a real life moment that I typed into my notes here. That's how bad all this was. By this time, I was ready for a nap.
Yeah, I can understand it. I really can understand it. I understand it's advancing the story between Mark Merrow and Sable.
Yeah.
But did they have to do it as an ending to the match?
It certainly could have been just done.
Especially when you've got two. Well, if you there's legends in that ring, they didn't need that malarkey till after it.
Yes. I agree.
But yeah, we get a cat fight. We get bloody Luna eating flowers. And it's just another shit show.
She was eating her flowers, wasn't she?
Yep. She was. And it was just another shit show. In total.
The rest watching those two brawl on the outside, or they try to fight on the outside of the ring, Luna and Sable. And then Cactus just grabs a chair, hits Goldust in the head with it, chainsaw pins him. And the show basically goes off the air with Sable and Luna having a cat fight.
And I was grateful. I'm a big fan of Mick Foley's anyway, as you know, and I was really grateful to him that he did that and put an end to this bloody fiasco.
I'm going to say that's in the top 5 greatest moments of Mick Foley's career. No, I'm just kidding. Because at that moment, Mick Foley became this guy's hero.
Yes, yeah, yeah. Put paid to the total fiasco of this whole show.
It was Leandro Trussard, but then Mick Foley knocked him out of the top spot. Sorry, Trussard.
Oh dear. Anyway, anywho.
Yeah, this
how many thumbs down? How many thumbs down you giving it?
I have only 2, so it gets 2. If I had more thumbs, it'd get more.
So I'm holding my phone. I can only do 1, but that's like 2 from me as well.
Yeah. You ever seen like the Chappelle Show and he would do the Rick James skits?
No.
I wish I had more hands so I could give those titties 4 thumbs down. Which I wish I had more hands so I could give this show 4 thumbs down because it was awful.
Down, yeah. It was awful.
You people just be glad that we watched it to review it, so you didn't have to because it's terrible.
You don't have to. Yeah. And anybody that thinks the Attitude Era
Yeah, I mean, maybe it gets better, but as of right now, it's not very good. And I don't have very good hopes for next week either, Glenn, with it being another tape show. So
no, well, we'll see.
This is the build up to WrestleMania, Glenn. We're going to WrestleMania. WrestleMania 14.
I know.
One of the biggest WrestleManias in company history.
What? Yeah. Yeah, they're supposed to be building stories and having your main WrestleMania attractions building their feuds.
Yep.
And we're getting taped shit. It's unbelievable.
The only match the only match that's going to be on WrestleMania that they built any storyline on this show with was Goldust and Mark Merrow, Luna, and Sable. That's it. Because sure, they built something with Farouk and The Rock, but The Rock's not facing Farouk at WrestleMania. He's facing King
anyway.
Shamrock at WrestleMania. Sorry, that's my 2 cents.
Yeah. So we'll get more shenanigans there, no doubt. Collapse of the nation.
Yeah, it's coming.
Anyway, let's draw a line under this, shall we?
That's it. That's all. I would tell you the ratings were for this week, but it's an unopposed rating because I can't find the Raw rating because they weren't run on it. They didn't run on Monday night. They run on a Saturday night. But I can tell you that Nitro did a 5.11.
That's because it was unopposed. Yeah.
Yeah, it only went up from a 4.61 to a 5.11. So I mean, it didn't go up a lot, but it was unopposed.
Mm-hmm.
Would you still like me to tell you the matches that took place on Nitro that week?
Yes, please. Go on. Really pissed me off.
We got Bill Goldberg defeated Hugh Morris, but I'm told the match was not funny. Sick Boy defeated Mark Starr. The Public Enemy defeated the Outsiders by DQ. Mike Enos defeated Barry Horowitz because apparently this is 1992. That's weird. Eugene Nagata defeated La Parka. The Barbarian defeated Ming and 2 of the toughest men in the history of wrestling fighting each other.
Yeah.
You better call the National Guard to break that shit up.
Yeah, you are, aren't you? Miro and his tank.
Yeah, Kurt Hennig defeated Bobby Eaton. The Steiner brothers defeated Vicious and Delicious. Do you know who Vicious and Delicious are?
I don't, but...
You want to guess?
No, go on, tell me.
Buff Bagwell and Scott Norton by DQ to retain the World Tag Team Championship. Rick Martel defeated Booker T to win the WCW World Television title. So Rick Martel is the television champion in 1998.
Unbelievable.
Chris Benoit and Dean Malenko defeated Chris Jericho and Eddie Guerrero, and it was probably a fucking fabulous tag team match, I can only imagine.
Yeah.
And the main event was Lex Luger and Sting defeated Hollywood Hogan and Randy Savage by disqualification. And you know what, Glenn? I wish I would have watched that show instead. This show was a nightmare.
Yes. Yeah, so do I.
Oh, fuck. But yeah, Glenn, tell us about a few shows that are not a nightmare.
Oh yeah, I'm booking the territory, doing the first and last of wrestling at the moment. They're on a hiatus from the main show while they do Unstacking the Territory, the journey to 1981 Wembley for Giant Haystacks versus Big Daddy, and the most watched wrestling match of all time with 18 million viewers. They've also just finished there being the Elite Gator Golf Series. They put away the Gator Golf clubs, did all sorts of shenanigans in the clubhouse. Also, of course, there is
the Doctor Who podcast with Danny Inside. That's an SJP World Media.
They're just back into a new series of that. The latest episode dropped last week. And DDT Wrestling with DC and Doc. And that's all I have.
Give all those people a fine follow and a listen. And, of course, give a fine follow and a listen to the other member of our podcast team, the Mayor of Canton. He does a meal with the mayor, probably not this Wednesday, because he's in Viva Las Vegas. Viva Las Vegas. Hey! Sorry. I felt the need to sing. I don't think I'd sang this show yet.
I hope he's enjoyed himself, because the only thing that went wrong for that was that the Browns lost, didn't they?
Well, he's used to that. The Browns lose a lot, so it's fine. He gets it. He should be used. Well, the Cleveland Guardians baseball team made the playoffs, so maybe he's excited about that. I told him, Glenn, to head on down to the sports book and bet on Arsenal before the PSG game, which you should have because we won.
Yes. Yep.
But anyway, yeah, check out A Meal with the Mayor. It usually comes out every Wednesday. And he may have one out today. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe he tried something in Vegas. I don't know. I guess we'll all wait with bated breath. Of course, but yeah, give the mayor a follow. But of course, check out sportswireradio.org and check out Sportswire Radio and give our buddy Thomas Bryce, the patriarch of Sportswire Radio, a follow on all the social media platforms. Just search Thomas B. Rice. That's Thomas Bryce. He's got the great chops and he does a lot for the independent wrestling community out there on the East Coast. So make sure you check that out. Make sure you check out Sportswire Radio. Check out all the things that Glenn had to say. And check out everything we got going on YouTube. On YouTube, of course, we have this show. We have a show with the mayor where we're watching Uncensored right now. We watched the Nebraska Death Match last week, which, if you don't know, is Dustin Rhodes fighting the Blacktop Bully in a truck filled with hay. I know I make a lot of shit up, but I'm not making that up. That's a thing that actually happened. We watched it.
It was.
Glenn was there. He witnessed it. So check that out. And of course, check out the life and times of Psycho Sid. He's the world champion again, and all is right with the world currently. We're rolling into episode 50 of that, Glenn.
And of course, if you're on TikTok, check out the Good Life Gooner, who's posted some good shit on there.
I talk a lot of shit and I post some videos. Yes, if you're a soccer fan or an Arsenal supporter like us, give me a follow on the old TikTok. But don't give me gambling advice because I'm not a gambler. Glenn, I always do those videos where I just do Premier League score predictions, and I always get them wrong. And some guy's like, "Who do you think I should bet on?" I was like, "Dude, don't listen to me. Did you watch this video?" I have no idea. What do I know?
No, that's right.
Check all that out. Check out all those fine people that Glenn mentioned and myself. And that's it. That is all. The only thing left to do is for Glenn to say goodbye.
Goodbye.